Hello, this is Dr. David Bilstrom from the International Autoimmune Institute at Brigham Memorial Hospital. Our next installment will be about estrogen dominance. Now, as you've heard in previous videos, when I was in med school, 1 in 400 people had an autoimmune disease. Now it's 1 in 12 Americans and 1 in 9 women. Now, why do women get autoimmune disease so much more than men? One of the reasons that researchers believe women get autoimmune disease much more than men is estrogen dominance. Too much estrogen, not enough progesterone. And this can be because estrogen goes too high compared to the progesterone. It can happen if progesterone goes too low compared to the estrogen. Now, each one of these individually is profoundly important on the body, but the balance seems to have a particular impact on the immune system. Right now, more women are diagnosed every year with autoimmune disease in the United States than with breast cancer or cardiovascular disease combined. So it's a huge problem. Now, women on average start to develop estrogen dominance or progesterone deficiency, estrogen being too high, progesterone being too low, around age 35. Now, this can happen at age 15 or younger, this can happen at age 55 or older, but on average it occurs in the mid-30s. Oftentimes when estrogen dominance may begin in the mid-30s, how a woman might experience this is insomnia and anxiety. You can think of estrogen and progesterone kind of like you think about your gas pedal and your brake pedal. Now, in your car, you need 2 pedals. You don't get very far without both of them, but you have to have the right amount of each. The same thing with estrogen and progesterone. Estrogen is like your gas pedal, kind of revs up the system. Progesterone, like the brake pedal, calms and slows the system. Too much estrogen, not enough progesterone, here comes insomnia, here comes anxiety. Now, the estrogen dominance can also show itself as bad flows, bad cramps, bad PMS, ovarian cysts, breast cysts, endometriosis, fibroids, all kinds of different symptoms. Now, just like autoimmune disease, estrogen dominance tends to run in families also. And so different women, though, in the same family may show different symptoms, but they all have the underlying problem of estrogen dominance that might be driving them all towards autoimmune disease. So one woman in a family could have bad flows, one could have bad cramps, one could have ovarian cysts, one could have endometriosis, somebody else can't sleep and somebody else is anxious, but they all have the estrogen dominance. You may remember in a previous installment, we talked about the beautiful set point in the middle of the immune system that when it gets lost, people move away from it both up and down, with the upregulated immune system issues being your allergies, your asthma, your autoimmune disease, and the downregulated immune systems being things like colds, flus, infections, recurrent infections, and cancer. So when you lose that set point, you move away from it. When we talk about the estrogen dominance being a big driver of the autoimmune disease, but also the estrogen dominance can be a big driver of cancer risk as well. Back in 1981, at Johns Hopkins, they published an article in the American Journal of Epidemiology, and what they saw was that women who had estrogen dominance premenopausally, and they were looking at these women because they had a hard time conceiving, a hard time having children, and what they found when they followed them over the next few years is that the women premenopausally that had estrogen dominance had over a 5 times greater chance of developing breast cancer premenopausally and over a 10 times greater chance of developing any malignant neoplasm the rest of their life if they had estrogen dominance. So here's a great example of this estrogen dominance that not only drives autoimmune disease but also drives cancer risk, which goes along with our knowledge of the immune system that when you lose that set point, you move away from it. Remember, the body's always ready to heal. You just have to give it a chance.